podcast contains mature content. The views and opinions expressed by the co-hosts are not necessarily those of the host. Listener discretion is advised. Finally, The Rack has come back to host the Smackin' It Raw podcast, and I am here with that baloney, Travis Pointer. Travis, how are you tonight?
I was doing okay. I don't know about anymore.
Well, you should be excited because not only is this the 47th episode of the Smackin' It Raw podcast with the exclusive host, The Rack, but we are talking about Money in the Bank, and I'm going to do predictions for that idiot Matt Ritter so that maybe he wins this predictions again because we all know he makes bad choices.
Okay.
But before we get into predictions, Travis, we got a little bit of news to talk about.
What's your news? Sir?
Have you heard anything about the lawsuit that certain Colt Cabana and CM Punk, that guy that got his ass kicked in the UFC a little bit ago, just won over a WWE doctor?
No. All I know about CM Punk is that he's going to return on Sunday and win the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Well, that would be a nice conclusion after he got his ass kicked in UFC.
Yeah,
but
man,
what is
the
important
ultimate
is
comeback. The ultimate comeback.
What is important here is, Travis, there was a lawsuit that the WWE doctor filed against CM Punk for defamation of character due to the fact of the podcast that he did where he called into question this WWE doctor and his skills over a giant lump he had on his back. I personally believe that it was a sexually transmitted disease that he got from AJ Lee, but he claims it was something else. And they won that lawsuit. It is now done and over with, and they are free of any charges.
Okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with asking questions, so I'm not sure what the dude thought he was going to get out of that.
Well, it wasn't the asking of the questions. It was the things that CM Punk said, calling him incompetent, claiming that the issue had existed and he had brought it up to them. And they're like, oh, no, it's nothing. Oh, no, you'll be all right. Oh, no, go out there and keep wrestling. And it actually gave him a staph infection, which I believe is an infection of the penis, if I'm not correct. That's why it is a staph infection.
No, that's not how that
From
works.
there,
that's not at all. That's not at all what a staph infection is, Mr. Rack, sir. No, that's not it.
Can you explain to the Rack what a staph infection is then? Because I refer to the Rack's glorious manhood as his staff, and I wave it around like Gandalf. And I tell women, I shall pass. So if it is not a staph, then what is a staph infection?
It's basically like a skin infection that you can get. It happens a lot in wrestling and like, jiu-jitsu and all that kind of stuff because it's just a whole lot of bodies and not the cleanest thing ever, so it just something that happens. He probably could have gotten a staph infection without that little lump on his back, most likely. Like there's no guarantee that those two things are connected, but yeah, it happens. Like when I was I trained in jiu-jitsu for a while myself, and the place I trained at, like their biggest thing of their highest praise they give themselves that like they've never had any staph infections in their dojo or their in their training facility because of how particular they are about how well they clean their mats and all that kind of stuff.
See, the Rack did not know that you trained in jiu-jitsu. I'm curious, did you have a bris or any sort of yarmulke while you were doing this training?
No, you wear a gi.
Is that a normal Jew thing?
No. Has nothing to do with the Jewish people, sir. It's actually a Brazilian form of martial arts.
Are there a lot of Jews in Brazil?
I don't know. There might be. There might be several Jews in Brazil, but I've never actually been there. I plan on going there someday, and I'll let you know. But I'm unaware of the ratio of Jews to others in the country of Brazil.
Fair enough. Well, let us get back onto the subject. So I mentioned CM Punk had his UFC fight, his second one. Apparently, Dana White said he's done, it's over, but he didn't get knocked out this time. He went 3 rounds and lost by decision. It is my understanding that He probably could have got knocked out, and the guy kind of dragged the match on, and Dana White was not happy with his opponent. But Dana White says, no more CM Punk UFC, so maybe you are correct. Despite everything that he has said, he will come back to wrestling in some way, shape, or form.
No, it's not in some way, shape, or form. He's going to be at this Sunday's Money in the Bank ladder match, and he's going to win it in Chicago, and the place is going to erupt, and I may just very well ejaculate all over myself when it happens.
Well, the Rack would like to be there to see that.
You haven't earned that privilege.
Well, that's fucked up.
Yep.
All right. So anyway,
let me just throw out there, I know that's not going to happen, but I want it to happen so bad that I'm going to keep saying it's going to happen and like speak it into existence. But go ahead. What are you saying?
Ronda Rousey also gotten inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame.
Yes, she did. Makes sense.
The man that the Rack would like to refer to from now on is Eminem 2.0. Enzo Amore dropped another song.
No. Well, see, now I can't trust anything you say ever. You have zero credibility when you call somebody Eminem 2.0 and you refer to Enzo Amore as that. What's wrong with you?
There was a lot of things wrong with the Rack, Travis.
I know this, and I just was hoping that you would list them for me so I can get an official tally.
You would like to keep this podcast under an hour, correct? Because if that is the case, we do not have time for that. We do not have time for that.
You're right. Continue.
All right. Also, this week, or I'm sorry, not this week. Last Friday, there was a Drop the Mic episode featuring the women of Glow versus the WWE Divas, and there was really only one I'm sorry, they're not divas anymore. I can't call them that. The only diva that exists anymore associated with the WWE is the Rack. They are all female wrestlers. So it was Alicia Fox, who I don't know where the fuck she's been.
She's
Nikki and Brie Bella.
She's not like floating around 205 Live anymore.
Not that I know of. No.
I know she was there for a while.
Nikki and Brie Bella and Carmella.
So one wrestler. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's correct. Took on all the women of Glow and lost to the actresses.
I was about to say, yeah, so when you say the women of Glow, you mean actual Glow or the Glow Netflix series?
Netflix.
Okay, go ahead.
And then also, Chris Jericho battle rapped Layla Ali.
Break the wall. Wait, oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting.
And Jericho was fantastic. He was like Enzo Amore level. It was great.
I hate you so much. Continue.
The last thing that the Rack needs to talk about is this is interesting. This is a very interesting time here in wrestling. Adam Cole is the North American champion for NXT, correct?
Sure.
He is going to
what's
defend.
Going on in TNA right now, Matt. But go ahead.
I said NXT, not TNA.
My bad. Same shit. Go ahead.
So anyway, that is the Rack's understanding of what the state is. And this man, Adam Cole, is going to defend the North American title in an independent wrestling show that is affiliated with WWE. So he will be defending a WWE championship at Evolve 107.
Is that taking place at Marion Catholic High School?
It is not,
Okay.
unfortunately.
I just thought I'd ask, you know.
But that is it for the news. I just thought it was interesting with you got Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks doing their thing in Chicago in September, doing their sold-out all-in show, and now Adam Cole is defending a WWE championship essentially on the indies. It is a very cool time to be a wrestling fan right now, in the Rack's opinion.
Any time is a cool time to be a wrestling fan, but go ahead.
As far as the actual shows for Raw and SmackDown go, there's not really a whole lot to talk about as far as advancing the stories going into Money in the Bank, because this was the go-home show. Mm-hmm. We did have a lot of fantastic wrestling. There were beautiful bodies flying all over the place, and then the women wrestled too. It was fantastic. Baron Corbin got a haircut, and he looks great.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about what they showed in the full version, but I only saw him once on the Hulu version.
Yeah, that was it. Okay. He just came out, showed everyone that bald is beautiful. and then that was it.
It is.
Um, all of the competitors for the Money in the Bank started the show standing on ladders for some reason. I didn't understand like why they would all get their own ladder and then stand on a ladder and have a conversation. That seems like a lot of extra effort just to talk to each other.
It really does, and I don't understand it either. I'm glad it's not just me.
Natalya won a women's fatal 4-way that was actually a really good match. It was fantastic.
I enjoyed that thoroughly. I just need her to never talk again. But go ahead.
Braun Strowman also won a fatal 4-way.
Yes, and he righted a wrong that was done a few weeks ago and actually performed a choke slam.
Did that make you happy?
It did. It did. I feel like he did that just for me.
I'm sure he did. I am a firm believer that Braun Strowman listens to this podcast and heard your disappointment that you made him your travesty of the week. And he's like, I need to correct that shit. And he went out and did it just for you. As a matter of fact, I was watching very closely. I think as he slammed the man down, I saw on his lips, "This is for you, Travis."
You're probably right. I didn't pay that close of attention, but there's a good chance that you're right because, my words hold weight.
The most beautiful of black men in WWE, Bobby Lashley, ran an obstacle course, and that was probably the Rack's favorite moment of the night.
I'm sure it was because he was really showing off his muscles and his manliness.
Until that tiny little man, Sami Zayn, came and hit him from behind and ruined the whole show.
Did he? How exactly did he hit him from behind, Matt? I need you to be. I'm sorry, Rack. How did he hit him from behind? I need you to be a bit more specific in that. Coming from you, there's no telling what that means.
First off, let the Rack put his paper down. You will never look the Rack in his eyebrow. You will never refer to me as that idiot Matt Ritter. We look nothing alike. We have absolutely nothing in common. I refuse to allow you to refer to the Rack as Matt. Never again.
I apologize.
Secondly, he snuck up very carefully behind Bobby Lashley. And then he took his forearm, like the Rack does with his partners. We're not going to get into that, but he pressed his forearm firmly against the back of Bobby Lashley's neck and forced him to the ground. He did not follow through, however. When the Rack does that, then he climbs on top of the person and proceeds to execute his finishing maneuver. Sami Zayn did not do this. He just knocked him down with the forearm, and then that was kind of the end of the show. Bayley lost to Ruby Riott, and Kurt Hawkins lost to No Way Jose.
See? Well, here you go. Time for the travesty of the week. I would like to point out that once again, Hulu has denied me No Way Jose, and I will not stand for it. So this week's travesty of the week is No Way Jose not being on the Hulu version of Monday Night Raw.
See, that actually surprises me because we have something else to talk about, but I've heard you are a little premature, so we will see if you decide to change that.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop me.
Roman Reigns.
Go ahead.
Roman Reigns came out. He had a match that he thought was going to be against Jinder Mahal. Instead, it was against Sunil Singh. And he won that match, of course. And then Jinder attacked, blah, 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 blah. We saw Ziggler and McIntyre beat Breezango.
Didn't see
and then
that
they cut
either.
another promo. Okay. Did you see the B team?
Nope.
Beat Slater and Rhino?
Nope.
And then the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Leaders of Worlds, the men who are solely responsible for the return of the Rack because they allowed me to skinny dip in the lake of reincarnation.
Let me just say this because it bothers me. This bothers me also. And I feel like this is also a Hulu version problem that I have not seen the Raw Tag Team Champions in weeks.
That is absolutely a Hulu problem because I have seen the Raw Tag Team Champions every week.
Yeah. I have not seen them. So it doesn't quite make my travesty of the week because, lack of No Way Jose is what bothers me most. But this is a problem also. Do better. Hulu guy.
Fair enough.
Whoever the
Fair
Hulu
enough.
person in charge is, do better.
So the only other thing for Monday Night Raw, because The Rack isn't going to make the mistake of not talking about everything and then having to go back to Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about everything. The only other thing on the show that we need to speak about is, did you see what happened between Elias and Seth Rollins?
The thing with the guitar?
Where Elias sang an actual song, and then Rollins came out to attack, and Elias ran away, and he had a prized guitar that he got from John Mayer, which, by the way, The Rack doesn't listen to a lot of music unless it's Enzo Amore. Is John Mayer a hip-hop artist?
I don't think he is. No. I've heard the name John Mayer, but I don't know his music, so.
Because both Jonathan Coachman and then it may have been a joke on SmackDown, but he was referred to as a hip-hop artist twice.
I'm pretty sure that was a joke.
I don't think it was a joke when the coach said it. I think on SmackDown it was a joke, making fun of the coach.
Possibly.
I think the coach mixed up John Mayer with John Legend. And the only reason I know who John Legend is because his wife has a cooking show, and she is fantastic.
John Legend's not a hip-hop artist either.
Fair enough. Like I said, I only listen to Enzo Amore, so.
Mm-hmm. You didn't mention this whole Nia Jackson Ronda Rousey thing either, though.
I haven't got there yet, so hold on. The coach not only referred to John Mayer as a hip-hop artist after Seth Rollins curb stomped the guitar, but he then said John Mayer is the same thing as Jay-Z.
It's disrespectful.
Since you brought it up, let's talk about it. So finally, after all this time, finally, The Rack got to see an in-ring confrontation between Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey that led to blows.
Yeah, it was. The segment itself was fine. I just need them to figure out this Nia Jax character because it seems like they just don't know what the fuck they want to do with her. And it bothers me. It irritates the fuck out of me.
Well, see, Travis, I understand because I see Nia Jax and I also don't know what the fuck I want to do with her. But that is a whole different subject. For those of you wondering, The Rack is neither hetero nor homosexual. He is bisexual and gender fluid.
So pansexual.
The Rack does not like that term.
I don't care what you like. You are what you are.
You are not allowed in 2018 to paint me in a corner, Travis. You do not get to choose what I am.
I'm a free American. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Regardless of what this government may tell you, even though I'm black, I'm still a free American.
Speaking of free Americans, Daniel Bryan.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Hulk Hogan did make a special appearance on episode of 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff where they were talking about Dusty Rhodes. So he is relevant this week in the wrestling world for the first time in like 10 years. But Daniel Bryan had a match against a man that I believe you have a bit of affection for in Shelton Benjamin.
He did. Cheated.
And Shelton Benjamin lost that match.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan cheated.
So you're going to say that
Yep.
Not seeing No Way Jose is a bigger travesty than Shelton Benjamin losing that match.
Yeah, it's fine because Daniel Bryan cheated, so it's fine. It's not good,
enough.
but
Russo,
it's not as bad as not getting No Way Jose because Daniel Bryan will get that win back. So Shelton Benjamin will get that win back, so it's okay.
Yeah, maybe eventually. We'll see. He hasn't been doing a whole lot of winning since he went on his own. Rusev beat Samoa Joe with The Miz as special guest referee.
Yes.
And the reason that this was great was because The Miz got a ladder and he went and grabbed the briefcase, and then he took the briefcase and he opened it up, and there were pancakes in the briefcase.
Pancakes, yes, because the New Day is forever trolling The Miz, and I'm here for it.
So the rack is to believe that the New Day knew that The Miz was going to, at some point, whether it be a special guest referee or whatever, go to the ring, get a ladder, climb the ladder, and try and steal the briefcase tonight. And that is why they filled that briefcase with pancakes.
No. See, you're mistaken. Here's the thing. They knew, knowing that their SmackDown colleagues at some point the night before, the SmackDown before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, they knew somebody was going to grab that briefcase. So those pancakes were for whoever decided they were going to grab that briefcase. It just was, serendipitous that The Miz was the one that grabbed it. They were trolling whoever the fuck grabbed that briefcase.
Fair enough. So Shinsuke also beat Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
And we were in Memphis, Tennessee, which I love Memphis. Have you ever been to Memphis?
Once, yes.
All right. You know who's from Memphis?
Who's from Memphis?
Jerry the King Lawler. You're a fucking host on a goddamn podcast about wrestling. You should know this, Travis. What the fuck?
I mean, I knew Jerry Lawler was from Memphis, but I didn't know exactly who you were referring to at the moment. You could have been talking about.
Then why, when I said who is from Memphis, did you not say who you knew from Memphis, which would be Jerry the King Lawler?
Because there are several people from Memphis, so I just, who knew what you were getting into, sir. There's no telling what the fuck you're gonna say. So,
All right, well, Jerry the King Lawler was in Memphis and interviewed AJ Styles.
Okay. Yes.
On SmackDown, and AJ didn't really have anything to say other than he was going to win the match.
Does he ever really have anything to say, though?
He often says that he is phenomenal.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, and this is the house that AJ Styles built, and he's going to win. That's all he ever really says. So, I mean, I don't know what you expect.
Which means that he may be phenomenal in the ring, but on the mic, I would say he is average at best.
Yeah.
The last thing from SmackDown, we started SmackDown with 8 women.
8 of them.
Arguing. Well, it started with 4. So it was a summit for the women's Money in the Bank. And then the iconic duo, who The Rack personally gets all of his fashion advice from. They are fantastic. Came down. And then also Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville came down, which gave us an 8-woman tag team match.
Started that way, yeah.
But then Asuka wanted Carmella, so Paige said, you know what? I can't do that. I can't ruin Money in the Bank for these people. But what I will do is I will turn our 8-woman tag team match into a 10-woman tag team match. Now, Travis, The Rack is a fan of things with multiple people, things like orgies and parties, strip clubs, where there are a lot of people interacting. But when it comes to wrestling, The Rack feels the less people in a match, the better, because of the time and the entertainment value. This, however, was a fantastic 10-person tag team match.
Yeah, I mean, matches with a lot of people in them can be really good. The problem is when they have these matches and they don't give them the proper time for everybody to really shine, they don't come through very well, but this one did.
I believe that will be all for Raw and SmackDown. Travis, is there anything that you personally would like to discuss or talk about that had to do with wrestling?
Not really. You want to talk about WCW again?
Well, The Rack was going to ask you that because The Rack listens to the Smackin' Raw podcast every week. And The Rack heard you say that you had a plan going forward to do more WCW content, but that idiot Matt Ritter knew nothing about it, and then you didn't tell anyone what this was. So is there an actual plan?
And it's not time to tell you yet.
And talking out of your ass?
No. There actually is a plan. It's just not time to talk about it yet.
The Rack just thought, as the host of the show, he would try and break the WCW content news here live on his episode of the Smackin' Raw podcast.
Not time for that yet.
Fair enough. The Rack would like to ask you 2 trivia questions related to one of the greatest Intercontinental Champions of all time, The Godfather.
Trivia questions. Okay, go ahead.
All right. The Godfather was formerly known as Papa Shango.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine, before he became Kama Mustafa.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was the Good Father, and then the Godfather, and then he was the Good Father.
Correct.
Do you know what Kama stood for?
No, I do not.
Kama stood for kick any man's ass.
That's awesome.
Question number 2. While he was the Godfather, doing probably the greatest gimmick in all of WWE, because everyone loves the hose, and he always had the hose.
Yeah, man. We all want to climb aboard the whole train, but go ahead.
He was tag team partners with another fantastic gimmick in the WWE, a man known as Val Venus, who was essentially a porn star.
Yes.
Who almost had his penis chopped off. The Rack had to mention that, because anytime you talk about Val Venus, we have to talk about choppy pee-pee.
True.
Do you remember the name of that tag team?
That almost chopped off his pee-pee?
No. The Godfather and Val Venus. What they were called together.
I didn't know they had a name. Go ahead. What was it?
Supply and Demand.
That's fucking amazing.
The Rack got these answers because there is a photo shoot on the WWE Network featuring The Godfather. And it was a fantastic show full of information. And those were 2 things that The Rack also did not know or remembered about The Godfather that was fairly entertaining to him. So I thought I would ask you these questions, and you seem to enjoy this information as well. It is definitely worth going back and watching The Godfather on the show as he talks and looks at pictures of his career and so on and so forth, and all of the hoes. Because, Travis, there are a lot of hoes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That will conclude the trivia portion of this episode. Thought I'd bring something new to the table. Let's get into these predictions. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What was that?
No, I just said I appreciate that.
All right. So the Rack is going to have to remove his $2 glasses because it's hard for him to see and mark things down. So excuse the Rack. He has a lazy eye. I try and hide it. First off, Money in the Bank. We have AJ Styles versus my personal favorite, Nutcracker Nakamura. Who's winning, Travis?
I think it's time for Shinsuke to go ahead and get that win. I'm going to go with Shinsuke on that.
The Rack agrees. The Rack agrees, and the Rack hopes that there is a righteous low blow in this match. Next up, the highly touted yet poorly built match of Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. Is Ronda going to come out as champion in her first title match?
No.
Or will Nia retain the title and then go on to body shame all those skinny bitches?
That's going to be a Nia Jax win right there.
The Rack also agrees with you there. This is very interesting, Travis. All right. SmackDown Live. Mela is money. But can Mela beat Asian Lady Goldberg?
Nope, I'm going with Asuka on this one.
Well, goddamn, that is 3 in a row, Travis. This is fantastic. Nothing to argue about.
This makes me nervous. It makes you feel like all my answers are wrong. But go ahead.
Money in the Bank women's match. We have Alexa Bliss. We have Charlotte. We have Ember Moon. We have Becky Lynch, Lana, Naomi, Natalya, and Sasha Banks.
Yeah. This was the tough one. But, figure, Hail Mary, go for it. I'm going with the newcomer, Ember Moon.
All right. See, the Rack had to rack his brain on this one. I feel as though because SmackDown had Money in the Bank exclusively last year, that this year is going to be Raw's Money in the Bank, especially in the women's division. So I feel like it is going to be a woman from Raw, which eliminates Charlotte, even though I could see Charlotte winning. It eliminates Becky Lynch, though I could see Becky winning. It eliminates Naomi, which I could see Naomi winning. And it eliminates Lana, who is absolutely not going to win that fucking match. I don't see Natalya winning the match. And seeing as Alexa just lost the title, I don't see her getting the Money in the Bank either, even though she is fantastic. I love that little blonde girl. So that leaves me with Ember Moon or Sasha Banks. And I feel like I want to agree with you and say Ember's going to get it. But they specifically said that they have to cash in the title on the champion on their brand. They do not get to choose who they face. And I feel as though when Ember Moon's time comes, that time is going to come against Asuka. So I am going to go with Sasha Banks because I would love to see the boss with the case.
Well, what's that got to do with Asuka?
See, there was a feud in NXT right before Asuka came up between Ember Moon and Asuka, where Ember Moon kept coming this close to being the first person to beat Asuka. So I feel as though her first title win will come against Asuka on the main roster, and she will finally eclipse, which is a play on words if you didn't get it because of her finisher, eclipse Asuka for the win.
But why does that mean she can't win the Money in the Bank?
Because she cannot cash the Money in the Bank in on Asuka because Asuka is on SmackDown. She can only cash it in on a Raw Women's Champion while she is part of the Raw roster.
I hear you, but I guess. Okay. I just don't think
doesn't matter. If the rack is incorrect and Sasha Banks does not win, it does not matter. That is just one win for you because right now we have agreed on everything else. So we disagree there. And I'm sure we're going to disagree on this one, but even though the Rack tries to predict with his head, there is just something about that giant mound of a man, Braun Strowman. He is a giant teddy bear. He is adorable, and I can't wait to see him with that Money in the Bank. So the Rack is going Braun all day, every day.
You want to go ahead and go through all the competitors so our listeners can, know who you're choosing from?
Well, I guess I could do that, but the only one that matters is the one that I mentioned. But there is Finn Balor, who deserves it but ain't going to get it. The Miz, who deserves it but ain't going to get it. Rusev, who possibly could get it but probably won't. Kevin Owens, Bobby Roode, a random member of the New Day to be announced, which will be entertaining. And I hope that idiot Matt Ritter, while he is live. By the way, did you know he is taking his wife to Money in the Bank and he is not taking the Rack?
I wouldn't take you anywhere either.
He bought third row tickets, and he is not taking me. He'd rather go with his wife. This is ridiculous.
I'd rather go places with his wife than go with you, too.
I hope that he live tweets or live Facebook Lives when the New Day member comes out for the group so we can see the reaction of the crowd because we don't know who it's going to be. And then last but not least, the man that I think you're probably going to pick is Samoa Joe.
Actually, no. I'm not picking Samoa Joe. I'm going to go with Finn Balor on this one. Reason being,
interesting.
I think this is WWE's chance to right that wrong. When Finn Balor became the first Universal Champ and it was taken from him that very night and all that. Yeah. I'm going to go with Finn Balor.
Travis, let me ask you a question. I want
Samoa Joe to win. Don't get me wrong. I want it to be Samoa Joe, but it won't be. See, I'm logical. I don't pick with my heart. I don't pick who I want to win. I pick who I think will win.
Well, see, now you just made a contradiction there because you said you are logical and you do not pick with your heart. You pick who you think will win, but you are trusting that the WWE, who is notorious for not correcting the wrongs that they have committed, to correct a wrong.
No, that's not the only reason. That's just part of the reason.
Personally, if it wasn't Braun Strowman, I'm hoping Big E is the one in this match, and I would love to see Big E get that title. Not title, I'm sorry, the Money in the Bank briefcase. I would love to see one of the members of the New Day get that chance.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see. They were at E3 this week, too, which was fun to watch.
Was there anything wrestling related at E3 that you would like to talk about real quick?
I'm sure there was a WWE 2K announcement, but I haven't seen it yet. What's going on?
I have no idea. I don't play video games. The Rack is too busy.
I thought you may have seen some news with that. But anyway, No, there was nothing rest. They just were talking about their about Xavier Woods' YouTube channel, up, down, down. Just pretty cool to watch. And then they played some games and all that kind of stuff. It was fun.
Listen, Travis, The Rack cannot be beautiful and entertaining and cover all of the video game stuff as well as the wrestling stuff. Like, it is too much. The Rack can't handle it. I rely on you for the video game stuff. This was your chance to shine. I gave you a spotlight. I put it on you. And what do? I don't know. They probably had it, but I didn't see it. This is ridiculous.
It's another WWE 2K coming out this year. It comes out every year, most likely in October. It's just, what else do you want?
Maybe some new features. Maybe surprise announcement of rosters or something. Anything that they have to tell us to get us excited about this new game.
No, they're not going to do that at E3. They get swallowed up in all that kind of stuff. They'll wait till later on.
All right, fair enough. Moving back on to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which I will not be alive for, which I'm still very upset about. The SmackDown Live tag team titles. You have the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Club.
Yeah, Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah, they haven't really done anything. I mean, they had the singles match last week, but there's not really any build to this match.
They don't
I don't know why.
They don't have a good opponent for them. That's really all it is. That's the problem.
Fair enough.
The best opponent for them is over on Raw. They happen to be the Raw Tag Team Champions. Like, the problem is
that is not correct.
They're on separate brands.
No. Let's discuss that for a second, because SmackDown has Sanity, but they have not debuted Sanity yet, and I do not know why.
If they haven't debuted them yet, then they don't have them. But
well, they do, because they did promo saying Sanity was drafted to SmackDown in the shakeup. We just haven't seen them show up,
no.
And they're not back on NXT.
If they're not on the show, then they don't have them. They can say what they want about them, but until they're on the show, it doesn't matter what they say.
Fair enough. Also, Raw has the Authors of Pain, who we also have not seen in a few weeks, but they would also be good opponents for the Bludgeon Brothers, though they are on Raw.
Mm-hmm. I still say the Eaters of Worlds is,
Well, I understand that. You got Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy and this new tag team, and then Bray's former friends and so on and so forth. I get where there could be an interesting story there, especially because everyone's kind of made a transformation.
Mm-hmm.
But they're on separate shows, and we probably won't get another Superstar shakeup till next year. So we may not see that, Travis, at least for another year, or maybe SummerSlam, or no, was it? It was Survivor Series where they did all the champions versus champions, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Seth Rollins, the IC champion, who's going to burn it down against Elias.
I'm going to go with Elias on this one because it's going to help, it's going to be what moves Seth Rollins out of the mid card into the upper card.
I agree with you. I agree. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal.
Can they both lose?
Technically, yes. They could be double counted out, double disqualification. There are ways for them to both lose, but I don't think that it's going to happen.
Me neither. But, yeah, I'll go with Roman Reigns on this one.
That is where the rack went as well. And last, but certainly not least, the absolutely beautiful milk dud, Bobby Lashley, versus that skinny white ginger, Sami Zayn.
This is going to be an interesting one. Part of me feels like they'll find a way for Sami Zayn to get this win to try to drag this out a little bit longer. But also, I feel like this could also be their chance to actually show Bobby Lashley, really do what Bobby Lashley does in a singles match and get the W. But I do think they can do that and let Sami Zayn get the win. So I'm going to go with Sami Zayn.
Very interesting. I actually went with Bobby Lashley, but I have a little bit of a crush on that man. So, yeah, I feel like throughout the entire feud, Bobby Lashley has kind of been on the back burner, and Sami Zayn has been at the forefront. And I feel like this match is going to be Bobby Lashley's chance to move forward, break through Sami Zayn, and come out into the spotlight. So I am going Bobby Lashley to win. So Travis, we agreed on every single match except for the 2 Money in the Bank matches, and then Bobby and Sami. Because apparently you just don't want to see the black man win. It's okay though.
I want him to win. We've already gone through this. I don't pick who I want to win. I pick who I think will win. And
you got to put it out in the universe, Travis. Otherwise, it won't come true.
It's not how it works. This is America.
Would you like me to have Matt send you this so you can keep track? Because I don't think being there live, he will be able to wave a sign and hold everything and also keep track of who wins and who loses.
I won't have the time either. Remember, I will also be, doing other podcasts and watching Westworld. So I won't be able to keep track either.
Fair enough, fair.
Make Eric do it.
How do you feel, Travis, about the overall build for this pay-per-view?
Took entirely too damn long. Well, no, it didn't take too long. They did it wrong and made it feel like it took too long. Like, they pretty much set the matches a month ago, and we just kind of had to sit here for a month while they tried to make things interesting for a month until it was time for the pay-per-view, and it was irritating.
Let's break this down match by match. How do you feel about the build for AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which essentially started all the way back at WrestleMania?
I mean, okay, I'll take another Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ match, but they put on good matches, but the build this time, like, okay, this is a way where there will be a winner because, we got to have somebody down for the count of 10 and yada, yada, yada. No, there won't be. They'll find another way to not have a winner. So, okay, we'll see what happens next month.
See, the Rec disagrees. Paige has promised there will be a winner. I feel as though, and I believe Matt Ritter said this last week, that Paige will restart the match and we will actually get a winner out of this, depending on how it goes. Though I feel as though last man standing was not the correct choice for this match if they wanted to guarantee a winner. It might have been better off as an Iron Man match or a cage match, something where someone had to escape or had to have the most wins in the time limit or something like that for this to work.
Mm-hmm.
Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. Now, personally, the Rack hated this build.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one because it didn't make any fucking sense the entire time they were doing it. It still did.
And I feel as though SmackDown's thing was just too little too late.
SmackDown's thing?
I'm sorry, Monday Night Raw's thing, where they actually finally went to blows.
Oh, that.
The Rack feels as though the entire thing should have been them being pulled away from each other and not being able to stop beating the shit out of each other, not waiting until the show before to finally hit each other.
I agree.
This one I actually kind of enjoyed, though it came kind of late, was Carmella versus Asuka. And the only reason I enjoyed this is because Carmella is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, she's been the whole build of this whole thing. So the more Carmella we get, the more I'll enjoy it.
How did you feel about the women's Money in the Bank and the way they spread out the qualifier matches as opposed to the men's Money in the Bank and how they did it?
I mean, at least they didn't set everything in a week. But it's still, I don't know. It's just there weren't really many. The most exciting thing was, like you said, when Ember Moon got put in it, and that was way at the beginning. The rest of it was just like, okay, oh, she's in it too. Okay, she's in it too. Everything else was pretty predictable.
You have no faith whatsoever, I take it, in the fact that Lana and Rusev will be the first ever Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank?
No, neither one of them will win.
Okay. You mentioned that you felt that the qualifiers for the men were too rushed.
Yep.
There has been absolutely no build whatsoever for Bludgeon Brothers versus the club, so we would just skip over that.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins versus Elias.
This is the one bright spot. I've enjoyed this build.
And it is probably going to be, outside of the Money in the Bank matches, the best match of the night.
Most likely.
I do not see Seth Rollins, no matter how good he is, stealing away from ladders and crashing and diving and insanity. But out of the singles matches and the championship matches, I feel like this one is going to steal the show.
I agree.
Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. Do I even have to ask?
Nope. You can move on.
Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn.
We can move on.
So you were not entertained by the discussion of Bobby Lashley's military career and his sisters and
Nope.
Essentially the fact that they did this weird interview with Bobby Lashley just so Sami Zayn had something to make fun of him about a week or two later.
It was all dumb. I hated it. I want it to be over.
Fair enough. So let me ask you this, Travis. If you could take this Money in the Bank or a WCW pay-per-view, let's say we'll go with one of the later WCW pay-per-views, like Greed. If you had the choice of watching WCW Greed or Money in the Bank 2018, which would you rather sit down and watch? And if you want to think about that, I will pull up and I will read you the card for WCW Greed.
Yeah, read me the card
2000.
for WCW Greed. Let's see what was on that card.
This should be very entertaining. So let's see here. We'll go to results. We had Jason Jett defeat Kiwi. I don't know who Jason Jett is, but I remember Kiwi.
I remember Kiwi.
Elix Skipper and Kid Romeo versus the Filthy Animals.
Okay.
And that was the inaugural WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship match.
Whatever. Okay.
Wait,
which members of the Filthy Animals? Do you know?
Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio.
Okay.
We had Sean Stasiak with Stacy Keibler versus Bam Bam Bigelow. I didn't even remember that Bam Bam Bigelow wrestled in 2000.
Yeah, that was when he, well, I guess you didn't say it's like a new attire, but that was when he had the two B's on his thing. And yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
We had Team Canada, which was Lance Storm and Mike Awesome versus Hugh Morris and Conan.
Okay.
We had the Hurricane, who wasn't the Hurricane at that time. I believe this was when he was part of the boy band. Shane Helms versus Chavo Guerrero for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship.
Okay.
Ooh, this is an interesting one. NBT, the Natural Born Thrillers, Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Hare defeated Totally Buff, which was Buff Bagwell and Lex Luger, for the WCW Tag Team Championships. Do you know who Miss Jones was? Do you remember Miss Jones?
No, I don't remember Miss Jones.
Well, Ernest Miller had Miss Jones with him in his match against Canyon.
Who better than Canyon?
The Cat, Ernest Miller. That is who. Easy answer, easy question. He ran WCW. He was kind of like the commissioner of WCW for a while. You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
And they had the Young Dragons that were kind of always attacking him and
I'm the greatest.
doing shit. We had Booker T defeat Rick Steiner for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a good one. We had Dusty Rhodes and Goldust, a.k.a. in WCW Dustin Rhodes, versus Ric Flair and Jeff Jarrett in a tag team match. That is
remember
something I might want to go back and rewatch. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Oh God.
Lastly, but not least, the WCW Heavyweight Champion Scott Steiner with Madeja, who I also remember, defended his WCW World Heavyweight Championship match in a Falls Count Anywhere match against DDP.
Okay. Why were you laughing when you said that?
Because when I think of Scott Steiner, I think of him in WWE and how bad his promos were and how awful he was and the fact that he should have never been champion, not heavyweight champion. The only reason he was because he had like the muscle with the tumor on top.
He had the bicep to kiss, man, you know?
No, that was a tumor, Travis. He was kissing a tumor. Biceps don't do that. I have met a lot of men who have worked out. I personally used to work out a lot. There is no normal way to get your bicep to grow its own bicep. That was a fucking tumor.
That's a super bicep. Like his muscles got muscles.
So listening to this card, which was actually 10 matches long, a little bit longer than what we have here for Money in the Bank, would you rather watch Money in the Bank 2018 or WCW Greed?
Let me ask, are you giving me a choice? Because, like, if this Sunday I chose to watch WCW and Greed instead, would we do the show about that instead of Money in the Bank? Is that what you're telling me? Because if you're giving me the choice,
I'm not giving you the choice of what you guys will discuss next week because The Rack will not be here next week. The Rack is going on vacation, and Mr. Matt Ritter will be back. And I cannot speak for what he wants to do next week. I cannot make plans for him. I'm just asking you, if you had to choose between the two, which would you rather watch? Not what would you rather talk about next week. What would you rather watch?
Oh, I'm talking about about on Sunday. Like, we go live, and instead of talking about Money in the Bank, we talk about WCW Greed.
Well, see, Travis, now that is the absolute beautiful thing about that, because you are going to be the host that week. Matt Ritter will not be here Sunday. So you can format the post show however you want. You can convince everyone who is not listening to my beautiful voice right now, who doesn't know any better, come in thinking they're going to hear your thoughts on Money in the Bank, and then you just talk about a show from 2000 from WCW, and never once mention fucking Money in the Bank. I think that would be absolutely hilarious. I would like to see that. Also, I would like to see the reaction on Eric's face when you start asking him about a show that he did not watch.
Oh, shit. That would be great. But
that is completely up to you. You are running the show on Sunday.
But if given the choice, honestly, yeah, I'd kind of rather watch that Greed card right now. Like, because here's the thing.
So you think Money in the Bank is that bad that you'd rather go watch?
It's not that it's going to be that bad. It's just that if given the choice between the two, I'd rather watch that Greed pay-per-view and then just have somebody tell me who won the Money in the Bank ladder matches. Like,
Fair enough. I did ask the question.
And then I'll go back if they say they were really good and watch those two matches.
Travis, I believe this is the point in the show where you guys do a who is winning and who is losing segment.
Yes, it is. It is.
I also know for a fact that Matt Ritter is absolutely unoriginal and just stole that from all the other podcasts you do because he couldn't think of his own shit. And I'm very disappointed in that.
But as far as Raw goes, I'd say Mr. Braun Strowman's winning because he finally did that choke slam and he got that W.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to say that we are all winning because we got to witness Baron Corbin and his glorious haircut.
Okay, sir.
Who is losing on Monday Night Raw?
Nia Jax, because she tapped in the ring even though there wasn't a match going on.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with Kurt Hawkins because he lost on a match that wasn't even Hulu worthy.
I'm with you on that.
And now he has 201 losses, which is fucking terrible. Who is winning on SmackDown, Travis?
On the Smackin' Down, I'm going to go with It's a good question as far as who's winning.
I feel the Rack feels as though this is a very easy answer. Daniel Bryan beat Shelton Benjamin.
He cheated. That don't count.
Travis, I've heard you say a million times the W is a W. It does not matter how you get it, so it counts.
Yeah, unless I say differently.
Rusev beat Samoa Joe.
No, he didn't.
Asuka tapped out the Raw or the SmackDown Women's Champion. The New Day tricked the Miz into grabbing pancakes out of the briefcase.
I'll go with Asuka on winning this week.
Okay. Asuka did submit Carmella. I like what I just said. So I'm going to go with the New Day because they played the long game and they got a good laugh out of it. And it was executed fantastically. So the New Day getting a one over on the Miz is my win for SmackDown this week.
See, I'm going the opposite with that, and I'm going to say the Miz got the L this week. The Miz is losing this week because of that.
Well, then I'm going to go the opposite of you and say that Carmella is losing this week because she tapped out to her opponent at Money in the Bank.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right. Well, I believe that is it for this show. Travis, because I cannot do it as eloquently as you, would you please like to tell everyone about all of the shows that you provide for them that they can watch here in the future?
Let's see. There's Wild Wild Westworld every Sunday, approximately 30 minutes after Westworld goes off. We also have Super Flashy Arrow of Tomorrow, whose finale is actually next week this time. No bullshit.
Rex heard that before.
Like, no bullshit. The finale actually happens next week. All right. Creation Conversation will return after Westworld is done with. We've discussed that. We decided we're going to wait till Westworld is over before we bring back Creation Conversation. I believe that's it for now. Yeah. More to come in the future, but right now that's it.
Also, they can tune in this Sunday, 30 minutes after Money in the Bank, to see you possibly talk about WCW Greed or possibly talk about the Money in the Bank. We will find out when we turn the show on.
What I'll do, folks. You have no idea.
They can find the Smackin' It Raw Facebook page at facebook.com/Smackin' It Raw. Or, sorry, /groups/Smackin' It Raw.
Correct. Where will we be live at, though, Mr. Rack?
I believe that you will be live at the Creation Magazine page at facebook.com/Creation Magazine.
Correct.
And then you will share that to the Smackin' It Raw Facebook page.
Correct.
So it can be seen on both.
Correct.
They can find you on Twitter
and the
at
Instagram.
Third Cuss a Lot.
Yes.
And Instagram, yes, at Third Cuss a Lot. That is at SIR_CUSSALOTT.
Correct.
You can follow The Rack on Twitter at The Rack SRW. That is THERACK, because I know y'all don't know how to spell. SRW, and that stands for Smackin' It Raw Wrestling. Matt Ritter can talk about where you can find him next week. We don't give a shit about him right now. Anything else, Travis, that we need to talk about?
Nope. That's it.
All right, let's close this show out.
Close it.
No, you're not going to accept that? Then fine.
Is that it? You're done? Or are you doing more? Okay, go ahead.
No. The Rack was done. I did the Gold Dust thing, but then you didn't close it. You just made it all
I'm ending it. We're done.